G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is Queen Tested, a video series in Fallout 76 where I grab a weapon and try to finish Scorched Earth with it. Today's weapon is going to be a Bloodied submachine gun with 25% faster fire rate and the Scorched killer receiver, which boosts the fire rate, which is already high for a fire rate weapon, to even higher. So it's 159, which is fairly substantial. Yes, that's kind of the main thing about fire rate submachine guns with the Scorched killer receivers. They get a massive fire rate. Does it equate to good DPS? Yes, but at the cost of bullets, and we'll see that a little bit later. Also worth noting, the range on this thing is a lot less than we usually have. See, if we were using the Queen Killer Fixer right here, we've got 162 range, and that is slashed down to 78. So unless the Scorched Beast Queen is sitting right in front of us, we're not going to be getting a whole lot of damage, because if she's not sitting in front of us, she's flying way out of range. Therefore, the VATS accuracy on this thing, for starters, is going to be terrible. Not that you'll use VATS with this thing, because it blazes through the AP very quickly because of its massively high fire rate. Think of it as using like an LMG in VATS. It's just not going to work. And the accuracy stat is slightly better, so that's helpful, right? But yeah, in terms of its fire rate and its mag capacity, those are kind of the defining features of this thing, and it does alright, as you'll see. It takes a while for Barbara to behave, but once she does, we get the job done fairly quickly enough. It's a sub 5-minute kill, which is decent for a submachine gun. I'm not sure how well I did with a prime receiver on this. I feel like I would have done a little bit quicker with a prime receiver, because it's just slightly more consistent and it's got that higher damage to chip away at Barbara's 70% health reduction, damage reduction, health reduction, I wish. Yep, 141 damage is not great. Here's the build, and we're going to be using Revenant in this, so shortly before the fight we'll be committing suicide, bringing ourselves up with Life Giver armor for that extra 50% damage for the 2 minutes, which is kind of helpful, but we don't get to make too much use out of it because Barbara doesn't behave, and we can't use that to maximize our critical spams, or she does that. We've got the standard thing happening in agility. Obviously, if we chuck on Mr. Sandman first during the night, Covert Operative second, we get a 3.75 times multiplier. Commando perks in agility, in perception, concentrated fire. Could probably get rid of that for something like, I don't know. You could probably get rid of it for Ground Pounder, because VATS is kind of worthless with this weapon. Tank Killer is there for punching through a little bit of armor. Tenderizer for that extra 6% damage, and it is helpful for a weapon which you want to squeeze every single point of damage you can get out of it, because it's got a fairly low base damage already. Serendipity, very important. MVP Serendipity, good safety net. Was trying to do this with Quick Hands before, and unlike the Fixer, which can finish the Scorched Beast Queen very quickly before you get swarmed, the Bloodied Firerate submachine gun with a Scorched receiver was not capable of doing that. So chuck on Serendipity if you want to try this yourself, otherwise you will die. Let's go. Alrighty, so there's some stuff happening over there. Hopefully the nuke clears out whatever's aggroing the Scorch, because this is not the first time I've attempted this. The first time this happened, there were mole rats everywhere, and it's not good too. That's really unfortunate. Oh, yeah, it turns out it was the mole rats who got me detected, because, why wouldn't they? There's another mole rat. So that's what got me killed, because they're it's because they're omnipotent. Got me killed because they're Got me killed because they're Got me killed because they're Okay, let's see if we can actually fight, or we're just gonna get killed over and over. So I'm just going to go for Broke here. We're gonna activate our bonuses. Serendipity not helping, brother. There we go. We're up again. Let's re-equip all of that armor, including that, and then drink some of that. That should get us into Nerd Rage, and grab our gun first and foremost. Grab some Rad-X, and if we run into rad problems, we've got some Rad-Away. And yeah, this thing fires blazingly fast, and I'm used to the old, what's it called, the 75 fire rate or something that you'd see standard of one of these things, but we'll just continue to collect adrenaline. Good idea to take out the Scorched Beast, because if they piss on you, that's just some damage over time that is hard to avoid when you are focused on a Scorched Beast Queen. Now, one thing we need to note about this is the range. It's got a terrible, terrible range on it. Really, really bad. So unless the Scorched Beast is going to be directly on top of us like that, it's not going to be great. And we've just picked up the Blight. Lucky me. And you'll see that we're doing okay damage. I think she's gone for the piss for the start. Nope, not today. We can't make use of our luck perks because this thing just chews through the bullets too quickly, but we can do that. Ideally, we need to get her to land. We're not super worried about... It's an unscorched radroach. Yeah, it's pretty standard of Scorched Earth to spawn a non-scorched thing. But yes, ideally we want her to be on the ground and not doing that. A lot of this event is kind of based on her behavior. It can either go good or bad depending on that. And unfortunately, I've just stim-packed after doing a right-away, so we've lost our Nerd Rage bonuses. Try to maintain some sort of damage here with adrenaline. Yeah. Looks like she's a little bit aggroed at the moment. I'm over capacity because, well, I've got more health now, and that's pushed adrenaline, that's pushed unyielding back a little bit. Now, I did pick up some dirty water, so we'll consume some of that. And some Daddy-O. I guess this is just a chemed run now. This is a good way of just using up all of your bullets, to be honest. So you can tell that we're doing an okay amount of damage, but I feel like there's some fighting in the background that's preventing us from seeing the potential of this, because we're only getting tiny, tiny, tiny little bits of damage from our weapon here, which leads me to believe that there's something in the background that's aggroed to something else, which happens. It's a lot. It's very, very annoying when you're trying to speed kill this thing. Anyways, 74 damage there. We'll grab what adrenaline we can get on these guys. We'll get in nice and close to make sure we're not penalized by the this thing's range stat. And then we'll let the hose go. And that is why I put adrenaline on. Oh, of course, just a regular non-scorched glowing mongrel, because why wouldn't there be, right? Alright, so that's a crab, and he needs to go away. Stim pack, please. I think I popped 2 there. Yes, continue to reload. Another one. We're just stuck in a perpetual state of danger here. God, I'm glad I put serendipity on, that's for sure. Alright, so whatever animals that were tracking us down, dead now, no longer able to detect us. And the way detection works in this game, if one enemy from a faction can see you, they all can. They've got a very impressive comm system for a giant bat, which leads me to believe that she's a little bit smarter than she lets on, old Barbara. That should be mutation station there, right? Nope, it's a little bit off. There it goes. Unfortunately, she's not going to plant her ass on the ground for that long. Definitely no speed killer, this one. And let's have a update on the bullets I've fired. Quite a lot. It's not too bad. Oh, look, it's a random unscorched tick. Because that should have showed up. It's like, you know what? That commotion between a giant bat and that phantom that hits people with a silent bullet hose. Yeah, I should get myself involved in that. And this is the damage you're all waiting for. This moment right here. Is it worth it? Not really. I'm tempted to whip out my... Oh, look, there's an omnipotent weapon guy there. Weapon. I mean, sure, why not? Ooh, I'm rubber banding again. Still, maybe. Alright, we're back in caution. Good. We've got a little bit of adrenaline off the back of the omnipotent arachnids that attacked me. And that about does it. I'm going to try to be as objective as possible here, but I think the fight before this... Oh, is it sub 5 minute? Yeah, okay. Well, it's not terrible. But... Same goes for the drop. It's not terrible, but... Yeah, there are better options. If you're looking for like a hipster weapon, you want to use it because no one else does. Why not? Oh, look, there's another one. But I couldn't really recommend using something like this, as the fire rate is kind of notable about it, like 159, that's getting up there towards the It's the 98 fire rate on the fire rate of the 75 standard, 25% more, 98. But yeah, it's the damage is not all that impressive. You can tell when I face against regular old mobs, and then they don't have that massive damage reduction factor about them. Oh no, it's a Scorched Sculper. Well, okay, bloody mess living up to its name there. But yeah, the massive damage reduction of the Scorched Beast sort of soaks up a lot of that, so you won't be seeing too much of it. But it did all right. It's a submachine gun. It's not exactly a top tier weapon already, but for what it's worth, it had decent DPS when she was sitting there. But you won't be able to see that in a public server event because she'll be aggroed by everyone around her. So you're better off pretty much just using anything else, like any other handmaids you have, or if you've got a fixer of some description, probably better options. And yeah, unless you really want to get rid of your 45 rounds, so you had like 3,200 at the start of this, I used 800 bullets for that. That's not very economical. That's like an Earl kill, basically. No good. Thank you for watching, guys.